So we're just going to go with what we've got. I'm just going to readjust some things. While I'm doing this, if you find a comfortable seat and close down your eyes and just start to notice your breath. Nothing crazy, no super intense control, just this act of noticing what's happening, noticing your mind. Starting this process of just acceptance. There's always things in life, like cameras and microphones, that we cannot control, like lockdowns and just an array of normal things that happen in life other than these. But one thing that we can always control, one thing that we can always come back to is our breath. If it's comfortable, closing down the eyes. And sitting with a nice tall spine so that you can feel your hips sink down low and your crown of head reach up nice and high. And then over the next few breaths, wherever the hands are is fine, but see if you can turn it so the palms are facing up. This gesture is a gesture of welcoming things in. Welcoming your surroundings into your internal. So starting now, a little bit of breath control, breathing through the nose into the belly, big inhale. Open the mouth, let it go. Same again, big breath in through the nose. Open mouth, sigh it out. Last one, big breath in through the nose. Open mouth. And then now just breathing through the nose. In through the nose. Out through the nose. And on your next inhale, start to count your breath. On your exhale, count your breath. Notice your natural rhythm. And then see if you can change it to a 4-4 count. Inhaling, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, 1, 2, 3, 4. So on and so forth. Keep that rhythm with your breath. If the timing is a little bit different and you would prefer a count of 5 or 6, just be counting, matching your inhale to your exhale. Finding this equilibrium in your breath. Two more rounds like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, wherever you're at. 4, 3, 2, 1. Last counting. And then you'll let that breath go. Keep breathing through the nose, and whenever you can have the space to find that counting of the breath, that inhaling for 4, exhaling for 4, come back to that. It will keep you grounded, it will keep you steady. I'm aware the laptop is very far away, so please feel free to write in the chat if you can't hear me. You'll find your way laying onto your back, hugging your knees in towards your tummy. Give yourself a cozy squeeze. Grab onto your knees and start to make some circles as you start to feel your lower back. Maybe notice if there's any crunchy points. You can linger there, going both directions. And then drop your feet to the floor, cross your right leg over your left, drop your legs to the left, starting with a supine twist. Twisted roots. If this feels too much, just uncross the legs. Take a big breath into the belly. Long breath out. Come back to center. Unravel the legs, swap sides, left knee on top, drop them over to the right. Again, big belly breath, so you feel your ribs expand. Long settling exhale. Come back to center, hug your knees into your chest once more. Doing some little circles maybe. Now remember, throughout this class, you can modify however you need. You can do what's best for your body, listen to what works for you, and if you need to not do something or add on to something, please go ahead. Taking your knees to a reverse tabletop, so they're going to be right above your hips and legs at about a 90-degree angle. I like to take my fingertips underneath my back so I can make sure I'm really activating my core by pulling my belly button into my spine. But you can have your hands wherever you like. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, your right leg is going to extend and come as far down that you can keep that tummy activation. Nice and slow movements here. Coming back to center, inhale. Exhale, left leg extends, slow movement, keep the control. Inhale, come back up. And we just keep going. Exhale, lower, slow. Inhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, lower. Inhale, rise. Start to notice your tummy switch on. Really pull the belly button back towards the spine. We're going to go for 2 more after this round. Right side. Shaking and wobbling is just the body waking up. Last one. If this is super easy for you, then lucky you. And then pause in the center, give yourself a squeeze, maybe even lift the head, let it go. Relax down. Bring the feet back up to the sky. And then only go so far as you can keep that control, your hips and your ribs hugging to one another, your belly button sucking back in. Take a breath in, and on your exhale, start to lever both legs down at the same time. I get to about here before I start to really lose control. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, lower it down. We're only going to do 1 more. Inhale, bring it back up. Exhale, lower it down. We're doing a back bending class today. So core activation is super important right from the beginning. Hug the knees into your chest. If you have a healthy spine, start to rock and roll. If you don't want to do this, just make your way up to a seat. But eventually, we'll all meet here. Cross the feet in between, hop through tabletop position. Look down at your hands and begin this sort of activation of grabbing the earth, really gripping your fingertips into the floor. So you feel not just your wrists dumping weight, but your hands are working. Hug the thumbs into one another. Feel the strength you can feel even just in all fours. And then I invite you to close your eyes. Take a breath in exactly as you are. A breath out exactly as you are. On your next inhale, start to tip your hips to the sky, coming into cow pose. Belly drops, shoulder blades squeeze together, crown of head lengthens. And then as you exhale, starting with your hips, tailbone tucks, back rounds, push the floor away like an angry cat. We're going to do 1 more classic cat-cow. Inhale, arching. Exhale, rounding. And now continue this movement, but allow it to become intuitive. Maybe there's some tucking of toes or straightening of arms or some random crazy Beyonce dance moves. But keep your eyes closed so that you can really feel into your body. We're going to take about 3 to 4 rounds of breath of just whatever movement you find on your hands and knees. Side to side. You can even just stick with classic cat-cow. It's a beautiful spine awakening posture. Pausing with a flat back after your next exhale. Your right hand will peel to the sky. Deep breath in, twist. Exhale, thread the needle. Right hand comes underneath the armpit. Shoulder and cheek come all the way to the earth. If you feel steady, you might take this left hand and just check out the back of your hips. Sometimes when we do twisting poses, our hips want to twist too. If you have even more space, you could reach that hand high or tuck it behind for a bind. But these are all just options and not necessary. The only thing I would say, or the only 2 things I would say are necessary in your yoga practice are to breathe and move in a way that serves your body. On the next exhale, the left hand, if it's not there, will return to the face. Inhale, reach, spread your wings, fingertip to fingertip. Right hand comes down. We pause. You wait for your inhale to lift the left hand to the sky. Feel your collarbones expand. Thread the needle. Left hand comes underneath the armpit, cheek and shoulder to floor. Same as before. You might keep the hand where it is. You might reach it high, check on the hips, take a bind. There's lots of options. No one is right except the one that's right for you. Next exhale, hand comes back towards the face. Inhale, see if you can find that count. Exhale, remember your equal rhythmic breath. Re-solidify the fingertips into the earth. Tuck your toes and then bring your hips all the way back like you're a tiger getting ready to pounce. Slide your hands forwards, create length. And then ripple your hips back up, untuck your toes, keep sliding your hands forward as you come into puppy pose. Some of us, that might just be the crown of the head, maybe the forehead, maybe the chin, maybe the chest. There's this huge illusion, especially in the vinyasa practice, that if you go deeper into a stretch, you're doing more yoga. But I often find that it's actually the opposite. I know for me, there's places that I can go physically that I definitely should not. So keep an eye on that as you practice today. Pull your bum a little bit towards your heels so your glutes are activating and your tummy is sucking in just a little. Sink your heart a little bit lower. And then push your hands into the earth. Bring them back onto the mat if they've slid off. Come back into that tiger ready to pounce pose. So your arms are reaching forwards, your toes are tucked under. And then push hands and feet into the earth as you lift your hips downward facing dog. Feel free to adjust the length, have a fiddle for a moment. And then come to stillness, thumbs hugging to center, tailbone tipping to the ceiling. Take a breath in, lengthen your spine. On the exhale, can you ground your heels towards the earth? Lift high up onto your tippy toes, look towards the top of the mat and start to tiptoe your way up. Taking your time, no rush, moving in little tiny steps. Maybe bend your knees as you get to the top, come onto your fingertips. Fingertips come to shins. Wait for your inhale, extend your spine, halfway lift, crown of head extends out over the hips. Exhale, fold, soft bend in the knees. It's, for most of us, probably our first forward fold of the day. So allow your knees to be soft as you need, your head to be heavy. Close down your eyes in your forward fold, maybe grabbing opposite elbows. Take one more breath in on the exhale. Imagine that exhale breath just let all the troubles of your life disappear. Ooh, if only. Then release the grip of your hands. Plant your feet into the earth like you were growing roots into soil. Bend your knees considerably so you feel your legs activating. And then start to roll piece by piece, slow motion all the way up to stand. Belly button hugs into spine for that core engagement. Eventually, the shoulders stack, the hands reach. You take a big welcoming inhale. Lift the heart, lift the hands. And then close down the eyes as you pull hands to heart center. Feel 2 feet pressing into the mat. Feel this energetic lift coming from that sensation of pushing down all the way to the crown of your head. We're going to take 3 rounds of breath as you take a moment to just set an intention for this practice. The intention I have sequenced for me to share with you is balance and acceptance. That's what I'm working with this week. If you have something else you're working with, just take a moment to solidify that. And if you're like, screw intentions, lady, then that's fine too. Take one more breath in, one more breath out. And then send your hands to the skies and blink your eyes open, big, reaching for the stars breath in. Part the clouds, arms wide as you dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift, extend the spine. Place the right foot back as far as you can, drop the knee, low lunge. Now we're going to start moving with a little bit more activation. Untuck the back toes, open up the heart space here. If you feel you lose your breath, that is a great indication that it's time to just slow it down, skip some poses, and do what your body needs. When you're ready, plant the hands on the earth, lift the back knee, send the left foot back, high plank. Pause in your high plank position. We're going to set this up right at the beginning. Start to lean forwards, keeping your elbows over your wrists, and for everyone, for this first one, drop the knees. Hug your thumbs to center, hug your elbows to center. Keep taking your torso forward as your hands pull back towards your feet, lower in one piece to the earth. That is a modified chaturanga and it's still hard work. Look back to see your elbows are over your wrists. If they're not, just remember that and see if you can work on getting the elbows over the wrists when we do this transition. Push the tops of your feet into the earth. Squeeze your shoulder blades together as you lift your chest, breath in. Then push into the hands, downward facing dog. Inhale, fill the body up. Exhale, ground the body down. Look to the top of the mat. Again, we're going to walk. Maybe this time, see if you can go heel toe all the way to the top. When you arrive, halfway lift, crown of head extends out of the hips. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, sweeping all the way to the sky, this time flat back. Hands pull to heart center, eyes closed just for a moment. Reconnect. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, part the clouds, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Place the hands. This time, step the right foot back. The opposite foot, I'm not going to lie to you guys, I forgot what foot. Pull your heart forwards. Take a breath, let your hip drop down. Plant your hands on the earth, tuck the toes, step straight back, high plank. Pause in high plank, we'll even it out later on, don't you worry. This time, if you're familiar, keep your knees lifted as you lower chaturanga. Otherwise, for the rest of practice, just keep dropping those knees. There's nothing wrong with it. It's what we need to get where we want to go. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Breath in, breath out. Look to the top of the mat. Again, walk, this time taking some bigger steps. When you arrive halfway lift, excuse me, see if you can keep your chin tethering to your chest. So we're staying here for some extra breaths. Maybe fingertips to the earth or fingertips to the shins. Take one more breath in as you feel your sides of body lengthen. Exhale, fold, bring big toes together to touch. On the inhale, sit your hips down low, lift your hands up high, Utkatasana chair pose. Look down, make sure you can see your toes. And then I want you to imagine like you were trying to sit into a toddler's chair and you didn't want to break it, but you wanted to sit down. You wanted to look like you were sitting in that tiny little chair. And then with all of that sinking in the hips, can you lift your heart just a little more? And if your brain has any more space to think about one more thing, can you pull your ribs in towards your body? Take another inhale. Exhale, let it go. Release. Inhale, halfway lift. This time, step the left foot back, drop the knee, lunge. Open the heart. Feel that hip, that front of hip line as you drop your hip down and pull your chest forward. Hands find the earth. Step back, this time downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg lifts to sky. Big breath in. Keep the hips square so they don't open, they stay right next to each other. Right pinky toe wrapping down. Exhale, knee to nose, pull forward, tiger curl. Inhale, three-legged dog. Bend the knee, keep the hips square. Pretend, just pretend, like you're going to touch your foot to your head. We're not going to do it unless you're an acrobat and you're hiding away there. But we're just going to reach our head towards our foot. Feel that back line in your left leg. And then tiger curl, knee to nose, pause. Push back, high plank. And then push back, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. A breath out. Lift high onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, look to the top of the mat. And if you're feeling a little bit adventurous, you'll keep your arms straight and pop to the top of the mat, halfway lift. Walking is completely fine. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, sweeping arms all the way up to the sky. This time, as you pull your hands to heart center, you're going to sit down, chair pose, hello top. Hands at heart center, chair pose. Sit a little deeper. And then sit a little deeper again, because why not? It's Saturday, let's do it. Lift your heart a little more as you tuck your tailbone and sink a little more. Fill up an inhale, and then exhale, whoo, it's over. Inhale, halfway lift. Step the right foot back, drop the knee, drop the hip, open the chest. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Place the hands, step back, high plank, pause. Push back, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg sweeps to the sky. Keep the hips square, left toes wrapping down. Exhale, tiger curl, knee to nose. Give a little kiss if you can. Inhale, three-legged dog, bend the knee, foot to head. We're pretending we're in the circus. And then knee to nose one more time. High plank in the arms, send the left foot back, high plank. This time, optional chaturanga. Maybe the knees stay lifted, maybe they don't. If you're ready for upward facing dog, I won't be teaching it, but you can do it whenever you like. Otherwise, sticking with cobra. Moving back, downward facing dog. We're gonna pause here now in downward facing dog for 3 rounds of breath. If you would prefer to pause in child's pose, please pause in child's pose. It is a beautiful place to be. When you see me coming all like up close, it's because I'm just checking you all out, seeing what you're doing. Mainly, I'm just making sure everyone's safe. Take a breath in, really hug those thumbs together so you feel your whole arm length working for those who are still in down dog. And then lift high up onto your tippy toes, bend your knees, And then keep bending them all the way till you come back to that tiger ready to pounce position. Push yourself forward, keeping your chest as low as you can until you feel your hips stack over your knees, puppy pose. Remember, it could be the forehead, just whatever part of you feels it can sink with keeping a little bit of tuck of the hips and belly. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. And then see if you can come up onto your fingertips. Walk your hands back to your tiger ready to pounce position. And then lift your hips up, downward facing dog. On an inhale breath, the left leg sweeps to the sky. Exhale, knee to nose, pause, step the foot. Back toes stay tucked, hands reach to the sky, crescent lunge. Now again, we're going to set this up the first time we do it. We want to have a little bit of awareness in the body. I want you to take your hands to your hips and notice if your hips are tilting forward. Take a little bend in the back knee, tuck your tailbone under. So your pelvis, if it was a bowl, it wouldn't spill any water forwards. From here, lift your arms up. Feel the sides of your body cinch into center and your feet hug to one another like there was a magnet in the center of the mat. Take one more breath in. Exhale, hands come to the earth. Step the right foot forwards, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, toes together to touch, sit down, chair pose. Keep the hands at the heart. Resist the urge to hook your arm. Twist to the left in chair pose. You've got this. Take a breath in. Make sure you can still breathe, and if you can't, skip this. Sit a little deeper. If you can, stay. And then inhale, come back to center, reach your hands up, push your legs straight. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Step back, high plank. Optional chaturanga. So the chaturangas are always going to be optional because they're super duper strong. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We pause. Breath in. Breath out. Right leg lifts to sky. Knee to nose, tiger curl, empty out the breath. As gently as you can, step the foot, lift up, crescent lunge. Check on your hips. I know for me, I need a little bend in my back knee to keep my pelvis lifting. Squeeze the feet together. Without lifting the shoulders, reach the fingertips to the sky and breathe. Maybe you're starting to open the heart just a little, only coming from above the waist. The hips and legs stay the same. Exhale, hands find the earth. Step forward, forward fold. Inhale, rise to stand, flat back, reaching. As hands come to heart center, we sit down, chair pose. Whoa, chair pose. Lady, it's happening a lot, but it's okay. Sometimes things happen that are like, I don't love this. It's not fantastic, but it is good for me. And I will get something from this. Sometimes things happen and you're like, lady, stop rambling. Twist to the right. Avoid hooking your arm on your legs. Let the twist come from your core. Look down at your knees. Make sure they're still next to one another. Sit a little deeper for one more inhale. Sit a little deeper for one more exhale. And then inhale, use the strength of your legs to reach up high, open your heart. Exhale, fold, let it go. Release your head. Maybe shake it yes and no. Inhale to a halfway lift. Place your hands, step back, high plank. And then again, your journey. Maybe there's a chaturanga. Maybe it's just straight back to downward facing dog. There is no wrong or right. There's just what's wrong or right for you. Pausing in downward facing dog, 3 rounds of breath. So if you're feeling a bit puffed, this is a great opportunity to just rest. Come back to that counting. If it's 4-4, you count the breath. Inhale. Sometimes it feels like we can't, but if you just commit to that rhythm, it'll come back. Beautiful, guys. One more round of breath, really let the exhale go. And then when you're ready, if you're not in downward facing dog, finding your way back. Again, left leg lifts to sky, bend the knee, point the foot towards the head like we were acrobats. Knee to nose, step forward, crescent lunge. Hands reach high. This time our hands will come down to heart center. Push so strong into your back leg that you start to lean forwards. Keep that back thigh working like nothing else. It's going to want to drop, you're going to keep it high. Start to look to your left, take your chest and hands together in one piece. Maybe this time you hook the arm to the leg. And for some of us, maybe there's a moment of expanding the wings. Whatever feels good for you, for a breath in and a breath out. We all come back to hands at heart center. And then we turn off the part of our brain that says you can or can't do something. And without thought, your right foot meets your left and you end up in twisted chair. You take a breath in. And then exhale, release forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Feel the legs engage. Exhale, fold. Inhale, rise all the way to stand. Notice the blood rushing in these up and down motions, how it makes you feel. Hands to heart center. If you can, close down the eyes. Breathe. Take all of your weight over onto your left foot. Lift your hands, your right knee, stork pose. Again, we switch off the part of our brain that says we can or can't do something. And we float our right leg back, Dekasana, aeroplane pose. Hands reach back. You start to bend that left knee, just like you were doing chair pose. And then eventually, your toes find the earth behind you, you find crescent lunge. Maybe you fell 5 times to get there. That's fine. You smile and continue. Inhale, breath. Exhale, right hand goes forward, left hand goes back. Flip the front palm. Keep your tummy super tight here. Don't let the hips change. And then reach your hand to the sky with right hand. Keep that back really stable here. There's often tendency to want to collapse, to go deeper into the stretch. Don't do it. Cartwheel the hands down. High plank. Yogi's choice. Maybe chaturanga, up dog, maybe skip. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Right leg reaches high. Bend the knee, point to the head. Feel that stretch up the back line of your standing leg. And then knee to nose, as silently, as delicately as possible, place the foot, lift up, crescent lunge. Find your stability in crescent lunge as hands come to the heart center. Push into your back heel as you lean forwards. Use your core here. So really feel your belly button sucking in towards your spine. And then start to twist. As you twist, this leg is so strong. This back left thigh is lifting. And then maybe there's space to hook. Maybe there's space to expand. Whatever is there for 2 more rounds of breath. Keep finding length from heel to head. Keep finding breath in every pose. And then switch that part of your brain off that likes to think. Bring your hands back together and step forward, twisted chair. Look down at your knees, make sure they're still in line with one another. They like to be cheeky. Sit your hips a little lower because you can. And if you can't, then don't. Take a breath in. Exhale, fold, release. Take your feet hip width. Let your hands dangle, let your knees be considerably bent so there's no stress or strain. And just hang out here for a couple rounds of breath. Maybe shaking the head yes or no. And then this time, rolling up to stand. So the tailbone tucks, the bones of your spine stack one piece at a time. Shoulders stack, hands reach. Push the feet into the earth and lift the hands up high. Big breath in. Hands come to heart center, pause. Shift the weight onto your right foot. Lift your left knee, lift your hands, stork pose. If you're struggling to balance today, welcome it, smile, maybe even laugh at yourself. Hands go back, leg goes back. Takasana, fly. Keep your heart lifting, but your right foot super active. Your left foot super active. The legs here want to work. Start to bend. Bend, 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 and you know where we're going. Crescent lunge. Beautiful. Look at you all. Well, you can't look at you all. I do. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Bring hands down. Bring them back up because Lucy's having a good day. Left hand goes forward, right hand goes back, twist. This time take your right hand to your lower back so that you can feel it doesn't move. Flip your left, reach it high. Take another inhale where you are, feel the stretching and opening. Then cartwheel the hands down, high plank, yogi's choice, chaturanga or skip, cobra or up dog. We meet back downward facing dog. Same little thing that we've done a couple times. Lift onto your tippy toes. Start to bend your knees as you send your hips and knees to the earth. Pouncing child's pose. Slide your hands forwards as you find puppy pose, hips over knees. Maybe close down the eyes here. Feel the engagement still in your body, so there's this magnet in the middle that you're hugging towards. Let the back of your heart soften. And then fingertips, walk yourself back. Pouncing child. And then all the way up, downward facing dog. Take a breath in. And exhale, and start to walk with a calm pace to the top of your mat. When you arrive, halfway lift, then exhale, fold. Inhale, rise, reach, reach, reach to the sky. Hands come to heart center. Now, I don't know why, but this is just my favorite cue of all time. You're going to take your right hand out like you were holding a tray, and then you're going to show the tray the room, the back of the room. So your thumb is now pointing the back of the room. Take your weight into your left foot. Grab the inside of your right foot. So your thumb is on the bottom of your foot and your fingers are on the top, which is the bottom, if that makes sense. The thumb is on the sole of your foot, the fingers are on the roof of your foot. Now glue your knees together. If you're wobbling here, wobble, embrace it. Feel the knees hug into center, tuck your tailbone, lift your left hand. With all of this engagement, little bend in your left knee, find dancer's pose. See if you can resist the urge to lean forwards too much to get the leg higher, and instead think about pulling hand and foot to one another. Keep that belly hugging in. It's going to protect your low back. It's going to mean you can do yoga when you're 100 years old. One more juicy inhale to find depth, and then hold where you are. 2 more rounds of breath. If where you are is wobbles, awesome. As you start to exhale, and exit the pose as slowly as you enter the pose. The foot comes back down. Your hands find one another at heart center and you just close down the eyes. Anything that's happened in this practice up to this moment is done. This is where you are now. 2 hands together, 2 feet on the floor, completely in your own space, making choices completely for yourself. Open the eyes, take the weight into the right foot, pick up your tray and show the room. Grab the inside of your foot, so the thumb is on the sole and the 4 fingers are on the roof. Big toe side, inside side. Right hand lifts. We start by pulling the knees together. For a lot of us, including myself, I'm already getting a quad stretch. I can hang out here and still get benefit. If you want to go further, you tuck that tailbone, lift the heart space, and start to kick hand into foot. Really kick it. Use the strength of your leg. Breathe. Take 2 breaths to find your depth. And then stay in your depth for another 2. As you start to find your exhale, you slowly unwind. Foot comes back to the earth. This time feet go hip width and we do this fun little like aerobic circle. Hips push forwards, to the side, all the way back, to the side. When you get to the front, you go the other way. Woohoo! Feel those hips stretching. Maybe think about wearing some lycra. Probably already are. Inhale, reach your hands high. And then really soft bend in the knees as you fold. So we don't want to overdo the fold here. We've just gone into a deep back bend. Have really nice bouncy knees. Head dropping. Halfway lift. And then like you were absolutely defeated, you're just going to like crawl your way back to downward facing dog super slowly. There's no rush. It's just this like crawling motion. When you arrive, lift high onto your tippy toes. Ripple your spine forwards to high plank for our last opportunity of chaturanga. Use your whole breath. Exhale, 4, 3, 2, 1. Pause in chaturanga. Knees on the floor is fine. Inhale, cobra or upward facing dog. 3, 2, 1. Hold 4 count. Exhale to downward facing dog. 3, 2, 1. Take a breath in.
Very low. Please start now.
Thank you, speaker. Take a breath out. Inhale, lift the left leg to the sky one last time. This time, let your hips open. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Bend your knee. Try and reach your heel towards your bum. If flip dog or forgetting the other name for it, but if flip dog is in your practice, feel free to find your way into flip dog if you want to do that. You can play around with lifting the toe and whatever variations you like. If you've never seen or heard of that before, just stay in this beautiful hip opener. If you want to give it a go, give it a go. But be mindful, be safe. I'm not there. Take one more breath in. And then as you exhale, if you're in flip dog, you're going to bring yourself all the way back round. We're all going to meet in tiger curl as you empty the breath. And then place the foot back downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg reaches high. Bend the knee, open the hip. Keep pushing the hands into the earth, squeezing the thumbs to the center line. Arms stay strong. Leg starts to open. If flip dog is in your practice, wild thing, you find it. If it's not, you don't and you love where you are. And then no matter where you are, you breathe. One more breath. And then we all find our way into this emptying, strong tiger curl, knee to nose, and then back to downward facing dog. Drop the knees. Wiggle yourself all the way back to kneeling. Just for a moment, close the eyes. If kneeling doesn't feel good, change to a seat. We're only here for 2 rounds of breath. Take your hands to the earth. Legs come through. So now we're ready to lay onto our backs, knees bent, feet on the floor. Once the head finds the earth, right foot crosses over left thigh, finding reverse figure 4. If you're really keen on pigeon pose and you'd rather do pigeon pose, you can of course do that. It's just with online classes, I can't see you guys. And pigeon has a history of like causing knee issues, whereas this one doesn't. So that's why I choose this. Sometimes I do pigeon when we're really warm for it, but yeah, your choice. Holding onto the shin, tailbone lengthening, shoulders relax. If the shin makes you not have those things, grab the thigh instead. And then just breathe. It's often at this point in the practice that we want to let go of the breath and let go of the work. We're like, oh cool, the hard work's over. I can just kind of give up now. But resist the urge to do that. Stay in your 4 full count. Stay in your smooth, rhythmic breath, just as if you were in chair pose. Your next exhale, legs stay the same, foot comes back to the earth. You're going to drop your feet over to the left. So your right foot finds the floor. If you can reach, grab your ankle. Use the strength of your belly to push this hip back down to the earth, your right hip. And you should get a juicy stretch on the outside of your hip. Somewhere, maybe. We're all different. Take a breath in. Push the right foot into the earth, keep activation in the leg. And then you'll come back to center. Cross the legs all the way back into twisted roots. Drop the knees over to the left. Take the hands out. Maybe if you have the space, a capital T. If you don't have the space, a cactus. Or if you want to take any other arm variation that just feels blissful, go wherever you want to go. And then close down the eyes. Notice your breath. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. Come back to center. Give yourself a little bit of neutral moment, maybe hugging the knees in, maybe just feet to the floor, just pause. And then find the other side. Left ankle over right thigh. There's a little gap between your legs, you reach through that gap. First place is the thigh. If you can keep your shoulders relaxed and your tailbone grounded, maybe the shin. If you find yourself like this now, what's the point? If there's a point, do it. If there's not, don't. Flex your left toes back towards your knee. Keep that activation. I invite you to close down the eyes. Breathe like you've never taken a breath before. Curious, intrigued, delighted by the sensation. Bring this right foot back down. Take the legs over to the other side so that foot is grounded. Maybe reach for your ankle. Pin the leg down with your knee. And then you use your own strength. So don't use creature power, use your strength, not your hands, to try and ground this left hip back down. So this foot is pushing down, this hip is pushing down, you get this isometric contract, like pull. One more round of breath. Come back to center. Cross the legs all the way. And remember, if twisted roots isn't for you, you can just go into a normal supine twist. Legs drop over. Hands find that best expression, like, oh yeah, this is the stuff. And you breathe. Find your count. Find your rhythm. And then when you're ready, coming back to center, have that little neutral position for a moment, and then find any posture, and it can be made up, it doesn't have to be yoga. Just do anything that your body wants right now. If what your body wants right now is to go into Shavasana early, go into Shavasana. But if there's like a shoulder stand or a happy baby or some move that doesn't exist that you're making up right now because it feels good, do that. Got about, say like 5 to 10-ish breaths. We all breathe at different paces, but around that. And wherever you are, the same kind of feedback applies to every posture. Are you being mindful of how far you're going? That both means, are you going too far or could you go further? Are you mindful of your breath and how your body is responding to the inhales, to the exhales? And with all of that, can you just be? Be present in what you're experiencing. Be practicing yoga. Slowly starting to find your way now into your final resting posture, into Shavasana. And there's no rush, especially if we're doing deeper poses. You just take your time, you unwind, you unravel. Maybe you grab some warm things. It's been a bit chilly recently. You grab socks, jackets, blankets, and then you land. And when you do land on your back, there's no more control needed. The breath can release to its natural rhythm, which for sure will likely have changed. Our natural rhythm is not one way. Just like everything in life, it ebbs and flows. You'll close down your eyes. And I'll share with you this poem I think is so relevant to what we're experiencing right now. Some of you have heard it already on Thursday. It's called The Guest House by Rumi. It says, "This being human is a guest house. Every morning a new arrival, a joy, a depression, a meanness. Some momentary awareness comes as an unexpected visitor. Welcome and entertain them all, even if they are a crowd of sorrows who violently sweep your house empty of its furniture. Still treat each guest honorably. They may be clearing you out for some new delight. The dark thought, the shame, the malice. Meet them at the door laughing and invite them in. Be grateful for whatever comes, because each has been sent as a guide from beyond." you have the time today, I would highly recommend staying for as long as possible. But if it's time for you to move, you'll start to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Invite the breath back in so you feel the body open, expand, and move. And when the time is right, you'll wiggle onto one side. And that wiggle will eventually move all the way up to a comfortable seat. The eyes will be closed and the hands will find one another at heart center. Originally, asana, the practice we just did, the postures of yoga, was made so that we could sit in meditation without aches and pains in the body, without distraction in the mind. So we just take a moment now sitting in this space. A breath in, a breath out. One note before we part I share is we welcome in what we cannot control. We welcome in the hard times and the suffering that is without of our range of power. But yogis are not doormats. And that doesn't mean that you welcome in what you can control, and you do have control over some things. So ride the line of that and find the balance within. We take a deep breath in together. A long breath out together. Bowing our head towards our hands. Ending with this word that means I see the same light inside myself, inside of each one of you. To each other we say, Namaste. Well, I love teaching yoga, so it really means a lot that you guys show up. If you have any questions or anything at all, write in the chat, email me, mute yourself, hang around if you want to pick apart any poses or anything like that. But otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. It's great to have you.